Happy New Year and happy Monday. Let's do a mock draft. One more week left in the season for the NFL. There was a big game yesterday to decide who has the number one pick. So I'm not going to waste too much time here. Let's get right into the mock draft. This is obviously the order is a little different than it was last time. I like some fits to some teams. I learned some things from the first round of the college football playoff. I'll talk about all of that. Also have a pretty big trade in this of not something that I think will happen, but I like the idea of seeing what would happen if it did happen. Um, and I'll show that in a second. It'll be after this pick because I believe this is the pick to talk about here with the Raiders losing to the Giants yesterday. They now own the number one pick. If they lose this upcoming week, they will have number one, and they are going to go quarterback. So it's who do they like more? Do they like Fernando Mendoza more, who we'll get to see against Alabama in the Rose Bowl on Saturday? Or excuse me, on New Year's. Well, I'm not sure exactly what day it is. I've got my days all mixed up. But it's down to Fernando Mendoza, who we'll get to see against Alabama in the Rose Bowl coming up. And of course, the other one will be Dante Moore from Oregon, who we will get to see play Texas Tech coming up in his next round playoff game. We already got to see Dante play in round one. And man, did he look incredible. And for that reason, I talked about in the first mock draft I did that I liked Dante Moore's ceiling more and him better as a prospect, although I believed Mendoza was going to go first overall. I'm going to switch it up here. I'm going to go Dante Moore at number one to the Raiders. I think he's got a higher ceiling. There's more explosiveness in his game and more big plays. Not that Mendoza is a bad prospect at all. I think Mendoza is going to be fine. It's just you kind of know what you're getting with him. And I think the Raiders, it's a bigger splash, I believe, with Dante Moore, even though Mendoza won the Heisman. Number two, the Giants lose the first overall pick as they beat the Raiders this Sunday. Um, I had this is where I have a big trade happening here, and I'm not sure that this is going to happen. I'm not nothing like that at all. But I think it's fun. And these mock drafts are meant to be fun, especially while the order's not set yet. So this is going to be a trade, and while I could see teams like Cleveland's been talked about a lot moving up. I like Shador Sanders. I think he looks fine. There's some growing pains with a rookie, but I think you've got enough there where there's other needs on that team other than quarterback, and not a great quarterback class. Jets definitely could move up. That's the most likely is that they'll move up one spot. Titans not going to move up. Cardinals I could see moving up. It looks like the Kyler Murray era is kind of done there, but I'm going to go to another place that I think the era for that quarterback is done. And they said Tua Tagovailoa will not be playing quarterback for the Miami Dolphins anymore. I'm going to have Miami coming up here to number two. It would take 12. It would take next year's first. It would probably take 44. I don't really care what's in this trade yet. The PFF does say that this trade would be accepted. I don't really care what is in this trade too much, but I am indeed going to have this be the trade. Miami comes up to number two, and they will take the Heisman Trophy winner in Fernando Mendoza to play quarterback. Mike McDaniel is coming back next year. Mike McDaniel, they've already announced that he will be the coach next year. And he gets one more shot pretty much. And I think this is a quarterback that would work great in that scheme. And he's very Tua-like with Mendoza. Mendoza's got a better arm, pure arm strength wise, but they're very similar quarterbacks, and they did very similar things in college. I like the fit. That's what I have at number two. At number three, it's going to be best defensive player here, I believe, to the Jets. They kind of need help everywhere. I had it being, um, I had it being Arvell Reese, because I believed he was the best defensive player. Him and Ruben Bain, but man, how good did Ruben Bain look in that first round game against A&M? So I will give Ruben Bain the edge in this draft. I will have him going number three to the Jets. I think he's probably the best defensive player in the class right now. That could change. We haven't seen Arvell Reese. Didn't see him last week. We'll see him this week as they take on Miami. That'll be a great game and great to compare those two against each other. At number four, he falls just one pick further than he did last time. This is where Arvell Reese goes. He is one of the best defensive players in the class, if not the best, depending on what you're looking for. I just like Ruben Bain a little more as a pure edge rusher. Arvell Reese has the versatility that Ruben Bain doesn't have. You can put him off ball at linebacker and he'll be fine. But his value is rushing the passer. So that's where I have the top four going. At number five, Arizona. This is a tricky one because they could go a lot of ways. I just watched them play the Bengals, and man, that team looks all over the place. But they need help everywhere. And I'm gonna do what I did last time. I'm gonna have Spencer Fano going here at number five. I think it's a little high for him to get drafted. I just I don't know that like is Caleb Downs, the positional value is not really there for a safety. Other needs other than a running back. You could go receiver, but I would argue that's maybe the one spot on their team where they really don't need to go right now because Michael Wilson looks really good. Marvin Harrison's been very disappointing, but do you want to go receiver in the top five with some other needs? This is where I would probably go. You could go edge rusher. You could go David Bailey or even look at like a Sonny Styles, something like that. But I have them going Spencer Fano at five. At number six, Cleveland. This was the one pick last episode that I got a little bit of pushback on about going defense when that defense is really, really good. And I think when a guy like Arvell Reese was still sitting there at number four, when Ruben Bain was still sitting there at number four, you had to go him. Neither of them are there now, so I will take offense. I'm going to take one of the receivers as Jordan Tyson or Carnell Tate, and I will take Carnell Tate to stay in Ohio. Injury concerns a little bit with Jordan Tyson. That's the only reason that I have Carnell Tate over him. I like them both very, very well. They're both very, very good. And I believe I even have Jordan Tyson going here very soon. I do. But yeah, I believe they're both neck and neck at receiver. The combine and pro days will really show, the medicals will really show any differences between them. And we get to see Carnell Tate continue to play in the college football playoff. At number seven, the Commanders, they've had a tough season, and they could really, really use some pass rush. That's what I have them going here with David Bailey. I really, really like David Bailey. Goes really under the radar because of how much press and recognition Jacob Rodriguez has gotten this year. And not that Jacob Rodriguez shouldn't be, but look at these last 2 years. I mean, just incredible. Maybe could be a little better against the run, but he's been fine this year. But at pure rush, getting to the quarterback, you can see here one of the highest graded guys in the entire country. Yeah, he's an incredible edge rusher, and as a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I would love if he would fall a little bit to the Bengals, who desperately need defensive help. But I do have him going here at seven. Mentioned earlier, I didn't have Jordan Tyson falling all that far. Go get Tyler Shuck some help. He looks very good. He looks way better than I thought he would. I knew he was going to be pretty plug and play and kind of not have that much room to develop just as the older quarterback he is. But I didn't think he'd be this good. I thought it would kind of be Spencer Rattler and that was going to be his ceiling. And it's not. He looks a lot better. That offense has played very well with him, and another big win for him. And yeah, I don't know. There's enough there to believe a little bit. Go get him some help. He's got Chris Olave there. Go get him another weapon in Jordan Tyson. Another thing I had talked about with myself kind of with this pick, though, is Jeremiah Love. Just because Alvin Kamara is getting old, and we saw how they used Alvin Kamara in that offense for as long as he's been there, I could 100% see them going Jeremiah Love here. And I honestly like that fit. I didn't have him going Jeremiah Love there because I still love this fit so much. It just feels like he's got Kansas City Chiefs written all over him, especially with Mahomes maybe missing time next year and some of the changes that are going to be made in that team and how that roster's built. I'm taking Jeremiah Love at 9 to the Chiefs, and another team here that I really, really like the fit of a player to. If Caleb Downs is sitting at number 10 when the Bengals are picking, if they pick number 10 because they seem to only want to win now and completely just tank their draft stock, thank you, Cincinnati. This is Caleb Downs. If he's still there, he has to be the pick. There's no excuse to not picking him if he is still there. At 11, this is Atlanta's pick that was traded to the Rams, as I mentioned, in the James Pierce Jr. trade. Which James Pierce looks great. I don't know that you'd want to trade the 11th pick and could sneak into the top 10. But yeah, this is a good trade on both sides, I guess. Atlanta is struggling right now. That team just is a mess. But I don't know if James Pierce or trading this pick is the reason for that. But the Rams get lucky here with having pick 11. This roster is loaded. There's really only one hole that I see, and it's corner. And it's such a good team where I feel like you can take a risk on a guy like Jermod McCoy, um, as his PFF will not load. There it is. Didn't play at all this year. We're not going to see Jermod McCoy play at all this year, so you've got to go off his 2024, which he was absolutely incredible in. He was so good last year. I wish we could have seen him this year. Doesn't play, is hurt all year. But this is a team where I believe because they are good enough, and this is look if they take Jermod McCoy here and he's not what they think he's gonna be, and it's kind of a swing and a miss. Oh well, like right, you're still Super Bowl favorites this year. You've got a great roster, so I will take Jermod McCoy here because the upside is there to be a top 10, top 5 pick and player in this draft. Giants at 12. Obviously, I have them trading down from 2 in this with Miami. I think this is a good board for them because they still need help all over. Peter Woods and Sonny Styles would both be great picks here. Maybe Sonny Styles a little more than Peter Woods just because you do have Dexter Lawrence in there, but he has not played up to the level that we've seen in past. But they need help all over. Go get Jackson Dart, another weapon. I have Mekhi Lemon here being the pick. Mekhi Lemon, what a year he had at USC. The stats speak for themselves. Yeah, just incredible. Maybe somewhat a little bit down the stretch here, but I don't play into that. What great deep threat would be a perfect addition next to Malik Neighbors and getting Cam Scadaboo back, and having that young offense that's fun with a new coach coming in. I'm interested to see who that'll be now that Brian Daboll is out. At 13, this is where I had Kenyon Sadiq, the tight end, because Cade Otton, it feels like he's not getting any younger, and that offense could use a spark. But this team has just they've fallen off a cliff. Now, they could win next week at home against Carolina, which I think I would pick them to win that game. And if they do win that game, they'll be in the playoffs, so they could completely tank their draft stock with a win there. I do have them obviously picking here right now because they, as of now, the Panthers lead that division, but that will all come down to this Week 18 game. I don't have them going Kenyon Sadiq here anymore. I did like the fit, but I like this one even better. They could really use linebacker. Levante David is old, and they've kind of struggled. Devin White was a swing and a miss of a draft pick. So I'm going to go Sonny Styles, who I think is just flying up draft boards, and for good reason. I think he could continue and sneak into the top 10 if he has a great college football playoff like I expect him to have. I do have the Bucks at 13 going with Sonny Styles. At 14, this is where I had Sonny Styles in my last mock draft. Obviously, he is not there anymore, but they need defensive help so much. I know they traded for Quinnen Williams, but they still could use some D-line. It was between Kendrick Falk and Peter Woods. I actually, so in my mock draft, I have Peter Woods going here. I'm actually gonna switch this, I think, because they do really need edge more than interior. They need both. I am gonna go Kendrick Falk here. I'm gonna change that. I'm probably just gonna end up flipping them in my mock draft because I had Kendrick Falk going very soon after anyway. But yeah, that's where I'm gonna end up going here is Kendrick Falk. They need edge rushers so bad. The loss of Micah Parsons is hurting that defense. They need everything. They need, anything on defense they need. If Caleb Downs is still there, that would be a dream for them. If any of the, if Sonny Styles falls, if any of the other edge rushers can fall, they just need defense. This has to be a defensive pick. That's where I have them going here. The Lions at 15. I probably would have. I do like Peter Woods as a fit here. I really do, but they need help at corner really badly. The defense in general, another team that seems like it has to be defense. I'm probably gonna stay with my pick here and go Mansour Delane. Wow, what a year he had. Was a good corner his first 2 years, but just broke out this year. A 91 coverage grade, 89 man coverage. They love. This is a perfect fit in that defense in Detroit. So I am going to have them going with Mansour Delane. And the Ravens here at 16, they need D-line. all over. This is where I had Kendrick Falk. I'm gonna flip the picks there. I will have Peter Woods falling here to 16. I think it's a dream for uh, Baltimore. He's a great player. Maybe didn't have as good of a year this year, but that Clemson team was just so bad, and it's really hard. I mean, he burst onto the scene in 2023 as a freshman, getting snaps at Clemson, and it was like, whoa. Like, there were some big boys on that D line, and Peter Woods really stood out. Kind of didn't. He had a good 2024 and not as great of a 2025. I still really like him as a prospect, and I think this is I think it's a really good pick here for Baltimore at 16. At 17, Minnesota. This is just an interesting year for them with how bad J.J. McCarthy and that offense has been. Uh, I know some people like quarterback here. I think Ty Simpson's going to go back to school. I'm not sure that I see him coming out. Obviously, I don't see a quarterback going anywhere near this high. So they also need help on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going to take Avion Terrell out of Clemson. Back-to-back Clemson guys going here. Another guy who this year has just played amazing. He's been good the last 2 years. And they need help in that corner room. That defense is really good under Brian Flores, but he could get a head coaching job. I think he probably does get a head coaching job somewhere. So they could use some help in that secondary. That secondary is aging, especially with Harrison Smith. He's not getting any younger. So I do like them taking corner here. Jets at 18. This is the Sauce Gardner trade from Indy. I won't even get into that with Indy of how bad that season has turned out to be after starting out 7-1. It's incredible that they push the chips all in and have now missed the playoffs. But this is the Jets here. I already had them taking Ruben Bain at 3. So I will not have them taking another edge rusher, although they do need more defense. The defense was atrocious, but so the offense is not great either. And how about get a weapon for whoever is going to play quarterback for you next year? They really need to trade up and get a quarterback. Another team where I thought of the idea of maybe pushing a Ty Simpson. Maybe. He looked really, really good in that last Oklahoma game after the first quarter. But I don't see it. I could see a team taking a chance on him. Maybe their top of the second round pick taking a chance on a quarterback. But let's get a weapon. Let's get a bona fide tight end. They haven't had one of those in a while. And let's click off of quarterback. Kenyon Sadiq is where I have the Jets going here at 18. Just an overall great player. Really great downfield. We saw him make some plays in that game, in their first round game against James Madison, although he really didn't need to because that offense was just on fire as they get the group of 5 out of the playoff. It's ridiculous. Panthers at 19. A lot of ways they could go. This pick also could change here. I talked about with the Bucks. It'll either stay like this or it'll be a flip depending on who wins that game. I do have them. They need some defense. It does say linebacker here is a need. I think it's probably their top need. They could really use some help on that side of the ball. And there is a really good linebacker sitting here. So I do have them going C.J. Allen out of Georgia. Really, really like him. Could see him fly up draft boards. Even could see him get higher because he is such a good athlete and he will test so well. Really, really good against the run, which they desperately need. He can get off to the passer too, but just a great fit in that Panthers defense for what they're trying to build in Carolina. I think they're building something down there. I see the vision, and it's coming along. They've gone offense the last couple of years. I do like them going C.J. Allen here. Pittsburgh at 20. Another team that could go quarterback. This could be a Ty Simpson team if he continues to play well and ends up going into the draft. I don't have them going that here. I do have them going with a tackle, I believe I do. And it's Francis Muaga out of Miami. They big test this week against Ohio State. And against that, let's see if Arvell Reese wants to come off that side and go best on best there and see how that plays out. You can see him shoot up draft boards. You could also see Muaga kick inside. I know he's only played 9 snaps at right guard, but he could play right guard, and some people think he will play guard in the NFL. But if he decides to stick at tackle and move to guard, either one is a need for Pittsburgh, and so that's where I have him going. 21, Dallas already had them taking Kendrick Folk, an edge rusher. Where do I have them going? Oh, yes. This is the Micah Parsons trade, which Green Bay could even fall. This pick could be even worse. Just an incredibly bad trade. Cannot believe that they let a generational pass rusher go. They get Kendrick Falk in this, and I'm going to have them going with a corner, the second Tennessee corner off the board with Colton Hood. They need help on that defense. Both of these first round picks need to be defensive players because the offense is fine and Dak has played great, but man, has the defense been bad all year long, and they could use another corner. Colton Hood played very, very well in the absence of Jermon McCoy all year long, but yeah, this Cowboys defense is rough, and then just bench. I know they need linebacker very bad, so they would love if C.J. Allen was still here. Obviously, they just miss out on him. They just miss out on Sonny Styles here. The linebacking situation is a mess. Benching Logan Wilson after trading for him. Logan Wilson's now been benched by the two worst defenses in the NFL this year, which is just unreal. He was a captain for the Bengals. Anyway, I'll get off my Bengals rant here and go with the Chargers here at 22. Is there anything else that they should be taking besides offensive line? I mean, it's unbelievable how bad this O-line is. It's just like can't even no words for Justin Herbert and how they have played as well as they have because that O-line is so bad. They're taking the best guard. They're taking Iane out of Vega Iane out of Penn State. Best guard. They need help interior. The tackle situation is okay. With Slater and with Alt. Obviously, they've been banged up all year, haven't been healthy, but they need interior really, really badly, and they're going to take the best one in the draft, the best pure interior lineman in the draft, in my opinion. At 23 here, the Eagles are on the clock. And there was a couple different ways they could go. I really, really want them to take some D-line here. That pass rush is not as good as we've seen it in years past. And I'm going to have them take Cassius Howell. Played fine against Miami. Didn't have any. Wasn't like Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain completely took over the game. Cassius Howell wasn't the same, but very, very good pass rusher was all year long. I'm going to have them going with Cassius Howell here at 23. At 24, Buffalo, another team that needs defense and could really use an edge rusher. And this is a guy that I could see playing a huge factor in this defense if they are able to go him. And I'm talking about TJ Parker from Clemson. Another guy that coming into this year was a top 5, top 10 pick for sure. Just hard to play motivated on that Clemson team that was so bad this year compared to what they were expected to do. But I think it could be huge in the NFL, and that's why I'm going to have Buffalo taking him. Joey Bosa is old. That just they need edge rusher and they need defense. I love the fit there with TJ Parker. At 25, how good have the Bears looked? Tough loss last night, but they have looked really, really good all year long. But why not get a guy that can help them inside? Maybe more of a project with Caleb Banks. Obviously, didn't play that much at all this year. Only played 3 games. But I like him as a prospect. I think there's a lot to love there. I think the Bears kind of like these guys who have maybe some question marks going into the draft. And maybe swing higher on guys. Colston Loveland being the first tight end off the board last year. They liked Luther Burden and took him last year. Romo Dunze after one breakout year. So I will take Caleb Banks to kind of plug that interior in Chicago. As you can see, 6'6", 330. Well, I just going to plug the middle of that defense, which they need. They could use edge rusher there too, but I like Caleb Banks there. At 26, Houston. This defense is so good, so I have them going anything on offense. And let's protect C.J. Stroud because it feels like they need it. Another project guy who maybe hasn't played as well as people thought, but has been good down the stretch, in Caden Proctor. I really like this. They seem to like those big offensive linemen. They've got a little bit of a Bama tie already with some of the guys on their roster. 6'7", 366, just a huge guy. Some people think he might move inside to guard. I think he probably sticks at tackle. I know it doesn't say they need tackle, but they do. They need all O-line. So if you have to kick him inside the guard, they need that too. But I like him to stick at tackle. down in Houston. At 27, this is the Rams pick, which I think will be even better than 20 or even worse than 27 because I think they're probably my Super Bowl favorites at this time. I really, really like them, but they are picking 27th here in this mock draft. And I have them also going offensive line. Another team where I looked at maybe like a Ty Simpson or something, or if you wanted to look maybe even later in the draft, not right now, as some of the guys, maybe like I would have loved a Lenora Sellers here. Obviously, he decided to go back to school, but just someone who could sit behind Matthew Stafford, like Ty Simpson. This feels like a great fit for him. I just think one of those quarterback needy teams ends up taking a shot on him rather than right here with the Rams. Although they do need a quarterback, and this is maybe not the year to take one. However, I would look more next year where the quarterback class looks a lot better. I have Caleb Lomu going here out of Utah. His big roundabout way to say that's where I'm having him go here. Really good pass blocking. Maybe not as good against the run, but more of a developmental guy. Can play. Has played both tackle spots. Not as much right tackle, more left tackle. Could kick inside if you really want him to. Is a big guy at 6'6", 308, but has the athletic ability to kick inside. So I like him here, kind of back into this first round. This back end of the first round, into beginning and middle of the second round, you can see these guys get interchanged. It's kind of just team fit, and they do need tackle. I already had them taking a corner, but you could look at guys here. Where are my corners? There, like Brandon Sisse out of South Carolina. Keith Abney is another guy that I love who would fit in this. Dylan Everett. You go down the board a little bit. Malik Muhammad, I could see being a big draft pick. Davison Igbinosun, a lot of guys are really high on him. I am not at all. I don't see it at all with Davison Igbinosun, but I know a lot of people do really like him. Who was the other guy? There's another corner in here I wanted to talk about, which I don't see him in here. But yeah, there are good. This is a good corner draft, in my opinion. It's a deep corner draft. Maybe not the high end guys, unless Jermon McCoy or Colton Hood pan out. But yeah, I like both of these. I like both of those corners. I like a lot of the corners in this draft, especially down the board a little bit. Cleveland at 28 already had them taking a receiver in Carnell Tate. So I will have them staying on offense here because I know there's a lot of good defense. I won't have them going Denzel Boston, who is quickly becoming my draft crush. I've looked way more into him recently. I mean, just the sheer size at 6'4", 209. Just a red zone threat. This is a guy who I will continue to push up my draft board. Was very unfamiliar with him up until recently, but God, the more and more I looked at him, the more and more I like him and how he will translate into the NFL. Reminds me so much of watching Drake London's tape at USC. That's a guy that I'm gonna keep pushing up my boards. And spoiler, I do have him going in the first round here. But here at 28, this is from the Travis Hunter trade with Jacksonville last year. I will have them sticking and picking here, and I do have them building that O-line around Shedeur Sanders because I believe, like I said earlier, I believe Shedeur is there's something to work with there, and I'm going to hit Emmanuel Pregnon as the draft pick there. Like him a lot. Can kind of play anywhere. He's played both guard positions, could play tackle. Don't think he will play tackle. A little not, I wouldn't say undersized, but not the premier size that you look for sometimes in those tackles. But it's been very, very good. Really good against the run and the pass. Just a solid offensive lineman who you can plug and play. And that O-line has been the same for a while, and they're getting older. Joel Bitonio is on the wrong half of his career in terms of retirement and some of the other guys up there. I like Emmanuel Pregnon here. Just talked about him right now at 29 to San Francisco. Absolutely love Denzel Boston, and I'm going to have him going here. They need receiver. Ricky Pearsall's looked better as of late. Actually looked pretty good last night. But they need a receiver pretty bad. I don't know what's going on with Brandon Ayuk. They traded away Debo over last offseason. Could use another receiver. Jawan Jennings has looked fine at times this year, but Denzel Boston, man, oh man, he's just getting better as his career goes. And 11 touchdowns this year, 9 last year, over 800 yards both times. Doesn't drop the ball. I love it. Absolutely love this guy. I'm going to keep pushing him up my draft boards. I have him going here at 29. At 30, New England. Wow, this team, incredible. They've had an incredible year, but they do need help on the outside. I would love Denzel Boston going here. I already had him going. Casey Concepcion, I'm going to talk about a little bit here because I did not love him in the Miami game at all. As you can see, it was his worst grade of the year. Had the weird punt happen. Had some drops. Just didn't look right the entire game. Something just seemed off with him. Didn't really play all that much in the second half. After taking that huge hit on the punt, just looked weird from him all day long. I still like him as a prospect though, and I'll take him there. To Texas A&M. We can talk about the same stuff. Can absolutely fly. This is a guy that he got outshined by Malachi Tony in that game when I was expecting the opposite. But still like him as a prospect, especially kind of back end of this first round, early second round. Denver at 31. Clinch that division, looking to get the number 1 seed in the AFC. I actually am going to change this because I had them going Anthony Hill here. But I'm not going to go Anthony Hill. I do want to talk about Anthony Hill a little bit because I don't have him in this first round now. Really, really like him out of Texas. Has been good the last 2 years, good against the run. Pretty good in coverage as well. Really like him. Like him more as a second round pick, though, maybe early, middle of the second round. There's another receiver I think could go here. And you see receivers, these kind of risk receivers go a lot at the end of the first round. A lot of times as teams looking to maybe go for the upside. And you want to talk about upside. How about Chris Brazzell, who just, was on pace to win the Biletnikoff and then kind of slowed down as the season. But early on the season, man, was explosive. So good down the field. Why not give it a shot in Denver and give another deep threat to that offense with Bo Nix? That looks really good right now. And rounding out my first round here at 32, the Seahawks, the current number 1 seed in the NFC. So, sitting here with pick 32, I don't think the Seahawks team will win the Super Bowl, but they could. Why not? Have them going corner here. They could use some help in that secondary. You saw Puka Nacua absolutely torch that secondary. Devin Witherspoon has been great for them, but definitely some question marks with Tariq Woolen and other guys in that secondary. It was between these two. I mentioned Dylan Everett, not going to have him going this high. It was between Brandon Sesse and Keith Abney. I like Abney just a little bit more, so I will go Keith Abney out of Arizona State. And that is my mock draft. I'll kind of put it on the screen here just to kind of see each pick. If you're skipping through the video, you can see exactly what pick I have to your team. That is all I really have today. It's preparing for to watch the college football playoff coming up here, preparing to watch Week 18 in the NFL playoffs. So stay tuned. There will be lots of football action coming at you. If you enjoyed this video and you want to let me know, hit like and subscribe. Leave a comment down there. Let me know what picks you like, what picks you don't. If you're a fan of whatever team, let me know what fit you like to that team and what you would like to see the direction of the front office go in the draft. That is all I have today. Hope you enjoyed your day. Hope you enjoyed your Christmas. Happy New Year. And I'll see you next time here on Let's Talk Football. Thank you for watching this episode of Let's Talk Football. If you enjoyed what you heard today, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, comment down below with what you would like to see me talk about next. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more just like it, click on the video right now to see my last episode, and let's talk more football.